Welcome to Microsoft 365 Virtual Marathon. My name is Luca Bandinelli, and today we will talk about SharePoint development for Microsoft 365. In this session, we will go through all the options that you as a developer can do in order to build great solutions for Microsoft 365. Solutions that are powered by SharePoint and can surface across multiple canvases Microsoft 365, just like SharePoint pages, as well as Teams tab. And we start this kind of journey by thanking you guys and the tremendous investments that they have made through the community and the pattern and practice effort to the SharePoint framework and the SharePoint development in general. Through GitHub, as well as videos on YouTube and community initiatives, we have had a tremendous amount of love and investment from you. And for that, simply thank you, because this is a way that you are proving us that we are doing the right thing for you and for all of our customers. So let's talk about Microsoft 365, and let's talk about how the developer journeys for Microsoft 365 can be achieved better and can be achieved even more powerful across the entire workloads that Microsoft 365 faces. Microsoft 365 is growing tremendously. And it's also growing tremendously, not only in the enterprises market, but also in other markets, just like in the education, as well as specific sectors, just like frontline workers. And it's very important to build solutions that can be quickly used across multiple solutions and across multiple interfaces, just like the web browser or a mobile device. And this solution needs to be simple but effective. And you as a developer needs to be able to build this solution consistently in order to be able to surface that properly and not having all the overhead to build different solutions for different kind of workload. And this is where SharePoint comes in. With SharePoint Framework, Microsoft Graph, and the power of Azure Authentication, you are able to surface data, store this data in Microsoft 365 and SharePoint, and thanks to the power of Power Automation, being able to build complex solution that works with complex workflow. This is even more important in today's situation, where people are working in different environments and they are physically disconnected with each other. This is where building solutions that bring these people together is even more crucial. A couple of examples that Microsoft provides to you is the crisis communication application that was built on top of Power Apps and the crisis communication portal. This is part of the SharePoint lookbook. Let's take a look at that, for example. So this is the crisis communication template. Companies can use this template to build portals that their employees can reach in order to get access to the latest informations that companies can provide, as well as access to external links in case of managing for crisis. Provisioning these templates is super simple thanks to the power of the provisioning service. As a tenant administrator, you go to this page and then you click to add your tenant. From here, you will provide some information for provisioning the site. Very simple information, just like the site owner, as well as the site title. Once all this information has been provided, you click provision, and in a few minutes, your site will be ready. We did it already for you, and as you can see here, this is the end result. From here, employees can take a look at the latest update on the crisis, have access to key resources that the company can provide to them, have links to external resources that employees can use in order to get the latest information, as well as access to collaboration environments like Microsoft Teams or Yammer, from where the employees can communicate to each other and exchange information about the latest situation on the crisis. In this example, this portal is being provisioned in order to surface the latest information and connection about the COVID pandemic event. Let's talk about the other investments that we have done across Microsoft 365 for developers and the ability for developers to build solutions. So the first thing that we want to talk about is Microsoft Lists. Microsoft Lists powers the ability to store data and surface data across multiple environments. And developers can extend and customize these scenarios. So you can start by creating solutions on top of Microsoft Lists by extending a list using Power Platform and building your Power App solution and surface your Power App solution in order to provide a tailored and customized experience, for example, viewing a list items or insert new list items. And this solution works across multiple workloads, as mentioned before. So it's not just SharePoint, but the same experience will also surface, for example, in Microsoft Teams. If you want to build a more complex solution, you can also use the power of Azure and Common Data Service in order to inject data that live outside of SharePoint and Microsoft 365. And thanks to Azure and Microsoft Graph and the Azure authentication, you can use modern authentication flow in order to securely gather this data. And in terms of data and API, let's talk about all the investments that we are doing on Microsoft Graph. In order to fulfill our promise to be able to have Microsoft Graph being more and more the entry point for accessing data across Microsoft 365 workloads, we have made some investments that are very crucial in order to be able to surface data that are stored in SharePoint through Microsoft Graph. So for example, we have recently announced and released the ability to have notification webhooks and register when some changes happen on list and be notified when these changes happen. New functionalities and capabilities are around site collection, enumeration, being able to enumerate and follow site as well as document, and a bunch of new APIs on permission updates. But we're not done yet, and we know about that. This is the reason why very soon you will be able to access TermSet and TermStore using Microsoft Graph, as well as managing content type and having more functionalities and capabilities around permission management. Here, there are a few examples about this kind of capabilities. So in this example, you can see how you can use the Microsoft Graph in order to register for a subscription or in order to get notified in the near future when new sites are created or have been changed. Same APIs can be used for following sites and documents. And here, you can see an example on how to use Microsoft Graph APIs in order to get access or get notified on permission updates, as well as being able to configure the ability to share drives and links. In terms of the future investments, TermStore and TermSet has been something that the community have asked us to do for a long time, and we are super happy to announce that this will be available soon. So as you can see here, you will be able to use Microsoft Graph in order to do CRUD operation on TermSet and TermStore, as well as being able to configure the basic information on the TermStore itself. So for example, you will be able to access entities and be able to remove or manage these entities as well. In this example, you can see some of the APIs that you will be able to use in order to work on TermSet and TermStores. Content type is also something that you have been asking for us to expose through API. And very soon you will be able, through Microsoft Graph, to create site list and content type columns, as well as doing CRUD operation on site and list content types. No dates for now, but stay tuned because we will be able to share these functionalities very, very soon. And now let's talk about SharePoint Framework. SharePoint Framework is quite new because we released SharePoint Framework in 2016, but from there we have done 14 major releases and we have had year-over-year tremendous growth and adoption in Microsoft 365 across multiple tenants and multiple developers and developer communities. With SharePoint Framework, you can create solutions to extend SharePoint pages by using app pages, web parts, as well as extensions on installed libraries. You can also build solutions that you can surface on Microsoft Teams as Teams tabs in chat, as well as personal application. So for now, let's take a look at SharePoint Framework and how you can build a SharePoint Framework solution from scratch and surface this solution in Microsoft Teams. And demo. Okay, now I am building a Teams tab solution using SharePoint Framework. My environment is already set up over here, and if you want to know what I did, I basically follow this great tutorial that is available on docs.microsoft.com. It will tell you how to prepare the environment, which tool to install, and it also gives you a step-by-step tutorial to create your first Teams tab using SharePoint Framework. This one is a little bit more advanced, and it's basically a solution that it's also available in GitHub from the community, and we'll provide the link later at the end of this presentation. But from now on, basically this is what I followed, and this is what I am doing right now. I built my solution. I am testing my solution using GulpServe. I feel good, happy. So the first thing that I want to do now is to be sure that I'm targeting the right environment. And as I was saying before, this solution will target both SharePoint and Teams. And in order for me to do that, what I do, I go to the one of the configuration files of the solution itself. And here there is this supported host variable that I can use to basically instruct the system where I want to show up this component. And I want, for this example, I want to use a SharePoint full page. I also want to use that as a web part, and I want to use that as a Teams personal app. By me specifying this option, I'm basically telling the system that it can generate and automatically create manifest for both the SharePoint catalog as well as the Teams LOB catalog. This part of the demo is primarily for enterprise developers that they want to target directly enterprises or customers. We'll talk about store later. So once I've done that, I save my project, my file. I go back to PowerShell. I can successfully verify that the file was saved. I stop gulp. I bundle the solution. This will take a little bit, but basically what it does is ensure that everything is okay and create the bundle that then will be packaged so that I can deploy that in my tenancy in the catalogs. So once this is done, prepare the command later for creating the package. Should be almost done. And it's done. Perfect. Now I create the solution by running package solution. This is quite fast, so should not take too much, which it didn't. So now I open my file browser to locate the package that was created with the command. Go here, solutions, here this is the package. This is the one that I want to deploy to my environment. So now I go back to my environment and I locate the app catalog through the SharePoint tenant administration. From here, I can drag and drop the package. The system now recognizes that this is a valid package. It starts parsing the manifest and gives me some kind of initial information. For example, it tells me that all the files are part of the package and they will be served by SharePoint Online and Microsoft 365 CDN if and where enabled in the tenancy. And then I want to make this available to the entire organization. So no further attention is needed from the administrator himself or herself. So I deploy was smooth, no error. Before going to Teams, let's verify that this works in SharePoint. I go to one of my team sites, I refresh, and I edit my page. I open the picker. Find my lead solution, and perfect, it works. Publish, no problem whatsoever. Here's my component showing exactly what I want to show. So back to the app catalog. Now what I want to do, I want to surface that in Teams, and the way I do that, I basically go here to the ribbon and I have the sync to Teams option that when I select one of the packages that are part of my app catalog, if the components inside of the package also target Teams, just like I did before with this component by specifying this option in my supported host, then this command option is now enabled in the app catalog. So now I click Sync to Teams, and what Sync to Team does is basically creating the manifest in the Teams LOB catalog. So this is done, quick, no problems whatsoever. Now go back here to the Teams. I click on Apps, and I can see that my Leads app is available here. And because it is an app available in the catalog, I can apply all the governance functionalities and policies that the Teams Admin Center provides for applications. So here I can see all my applications available, or all the applications that I can enable in my tenancy, or they're already available in my tenancy. I search for Leads, and here it is. I can find my Leads application that you can see is SharePoint Framework, and this solution can now be, this Teams tab can now be managed and assign policies. So for example, you can say that I want this to be pre-pinned inside my left rail in Team to a specific set of users. Now let's see if it works. I go back to Teams. I go here. I search for Leads. I find Leads. I can add that. And as you can see, it pins over here, and voila, the experience is very much the same as I have in my SharePoint environment. Let's go back to the presentation. So as we have seen in the demo, you can use SharePoint Framework in order to build Microsoft Teams solution. With SharePoint Framework, developers can create a solution and enable that solution to either be a personal app in Teams, a Teams tab, or both. There is no limitation here. As a matter of fact, the same exact solution, as we have seen, can surface at the same time in SharePoint and Teams. Thanks to the power of SharePoint and Microsoft Teams, SharePoint Framework provides to you the context where your solution works. So your solution can behave differently if it's in a page or if it's in a Team tab, even if it's exactly the same solution. And because of the power of Microsoft Azure as well as Teams' rich ecosystem, this solution will fully work not only in the browser, but also in the Teams rich client as well as the mobile app. And very soon, you will also be able to use SharePoint Framework to build task modules for a Microsoft Teams solution. So in Microsoft Teams, you will be able to have a bot or a messaging extension, and whenever you need a task module, you will be able to use SharePoint Framework to power that experience. Let's talk about store investments. Right now, SharePoint Framework solutions have been targeted system integrators and enterprise developers. But very soon, you as a developer will be able to submit the solution on Partner Center and surface this solution on the store in order to be able for customers to acquire that. SharePoint Framework solution will be available for tenant administrators. Tenant administrators will be able to browse the store and find the solutions that they want to enable for the entire tenancy. From there, the solution will be able to power SharePoint as well as Microsoft Teams. End users will also be able to browse these solutions, but end user will only be able to request for the solution as the administrators will need to approve the solution before being available for the tenancy. From application lifecycle management standpoint, solutions in the stores behave exactly the same way as enterprise solution. Through the power of the SharePoint application catalog and the power of the Teams LOB catalog, administrators will be able to control the solution, quickly disable the solution if they need to do so, and be able also to target specific set of users or scenarios in terms of sites as well as tabs or personal app as well. For the first release of the SharePoint framework on the store, we are supporting the following scenarios. We will support SharePoint framework solution for SharePoint pages and lists. We will support the SharePoint framework solution for Teams tabs, and we will also support the Teams tab solutions for SharePoint pages. And we want to thank our partners and the huge contribution they provide in order to help us building these features. Key partners like Hyperfish or Rancor were able to help us tremendously in building this feature. And from the team side, partners like Jira Software and Vrij were able to pioneer the ability to build Teams tab solution on top of SharePoint. Let's take a look at how that works. In this demo, you will see a developer that uses Partner Center in order to submit a solution in the Microsoft Store. And then later, a tenant administrator will be able to browse for the solution in the Microsoft Store, acquire the solution, and surface that in SharePoint as well as Teams. Demo time. So in the previous demo, we have seen how to build a solution using SharePoint framework to target Teams as a personal app or as a chat app. And the demo was focused on the enterprise development. So for developing a solution that target one or more customers by interacting with the customer directly. This is more suitable for, again, enterprise developer or system integrators. But now what I want to do, I want to be able also to use the Microsoft Store to sell my solution to target SharePoint and Teams through the Microsoft Store. And this is something that was not possible until now. And now during this event, we are announcing the ability for partners to start very, very soon publishing solution through Partner Center to be able to target Microsoft 365 customers with SharePoint Framework solution for both SharePoint and Teams. And the way you do is basically very, very similar to every other SharePoint solution. Through Partner Center, you basically create a new SharePoint solution, and when you set up the product, you provide all your information that you want, and you can see that as part of the package, we will now also support the SharePoint Framework package type. So you can see it's exactly the same package that was available before that I used to, in the previous demo that I used to deploy in the app catalog. And from here, you do exactly everything else you were doing for any other solution. There is no integration with the Teams part yet, but because as we have seen before, the manifest also includes information about Teams. When the solution is acquired through the store, the administrator will be able to do the same sync Teams action that we did before to make this solution available in Teams as well. So let's go now on the tenancy, and let's play the role of the administrator that wants to acquire this solution from the store and surface this solution in SharePoint and Teams. Now I am back to my tenancy, and I am now administrator, and I want to acquire the solution that was published through Partner Center on my tenancy. So I'm back to the app catalog. And just like anything else that you can install from the store in SharePoint, I go to Site Contents. And then from Site Content, I can go to New App, select SharePoint Store. And here from SharePoint Store, once the information comes down and loads, I can go to Find an App and search for leads. Now I can find my application over here. So select the application, I click Add it, and you will see that we have a very similar experience to the one we had when I uploaded the solution on the Enterprise Application Catalog. I have the same kind of message over here. The format is slightly different to accommodate the store information and canvas, but the information is same as here. I can still see that everything on the solution is part of the solution itself, including all the file, and the file will be served from the SharePoint Online and Microsoft 365 CDN were enabled. I can make the solution available everywhere, and I can deploy. And once I click deploy, the information gets added to the app catalog, And I go back to the app catalog, and voila, I have exactly the same kind of experience that I had before when I was installing the application from the enterprise catalog. Now, this is a solution that is available both for SharePoint and Teams. So to make that available in Teams as well, I select the solution, go to Files, click on Sync to Teams, ensure that the synchronization process successfully ends. I go then to the Teams Admin Center, select Manage Apps, and now if I search for my app, I can successfully find it. And there we have. Now the solution can be managed in Teams just like any other solutions, pinning on the left rail, as well as making that available for specific users and on the tenancy as well. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that was useful for you. Be safe, and I can't wait to see what you will be able to build by using the power of SharePoint and Microsoft 365.